Vào cuối tuần này, có một cuốn phim độc lập sẽ được trình chiếu rất là hạn chế. Cuốn phim mang tên Walter. Walter nói về nhân vật Gary Benjamin làm việc là một nhân viên xét vé tại một rạp hát địa phương Cineplex. Và khi Walter được 10 tuổi thì anh có một thỏa thuận với Thượng Đế, có thể phán xét định mệnh của tất cả mọi người mà anh gặp gỡ để mà trao đổi cho cha anh được lên thiên đàng. Walter sống hàng ngày với công việc và với người mẹ hết sức chăm lo cho anh, cho tới khi một người bí ẩn tên là Greg xuất hiện và buộc anh phải đánh giá lại cái ý nghĩa cũng như là tương lai của cuộc đời mình. Và Walter với phần diễn xuất của nam tài tử trẻ Andrew J. West, thưa quý vị, và cũng có phần xuất hiện của Justin Kirk, nữ diễn viên Neve Campbell, Levin Rambin, Milo Ventimiglia, Brian White, Peter Facinelli, Virginia Madsen cũng như là William H. Macy. Cuốn phim Walter do nữ đạo diễn trẻ Anna Maestro đạo diễn. Và phim này đã được soạn thảo bởi Paul Schoberg và sản xuất bởi Mark Holder, Christine Holder, Brandon Patrick Hill, Ryan Harris và Benito Miller. Cuốn phim dài đến 1 tiếng 26 phút, thưa quý vị. Sau đây là cuộc phỏng vấn về phim Walter mà phóng viên Carolyn đã thực hiện được với nam tài tử Andrew J. West.
I really need to start getting ready now.
As soon as I'm done hugging you.
Do you know why I'm here?
Do you?
You're all going to hell!
I have Anna Mastro and Andrew J. West here, who are, you know, the director and the star of the film Walter. I watched this last night and was pleasantly surprised. Now, you know, Andrew, you're known for interacting with the unliving, but a little bit, you know,
yeah.
Having played Gareth on The Walking Dead. Now, Walter's
or the partially living, I guess.
Yeah, the partially living.
The somewhat living.
Well,
Yeah.
Walter's relationship with the unliving is a little different. Can you elaborate on your character?
I just can't get away from this, can I? It's like ghosts or half ghosts or dead people or half dead people. I can't. Yeah, yeah. Walter is another very unique character that I've been lucky enough to have been given the opportunity to play. He is a young man who believes that he is the son of God, and that it is up to him to decide the eternal fate of everybody that he comes into contact with. So Walter is going about his day-to-day business, and he starts to get visited and bothered by a ghost, a guy who claims to be stuck in a purgatory state, who needs to be judged. It's never happened to Walter before. He doesn't know what to do. It freaks him out a little bit, but he's got to deal with this guy because the guy, you know, won't leave him alone. So he starts to go on adventures, and he starts to learn some very interesting things about his life. Ghosts, you know, they sometimes they can be pretty helpful guys, entities, beings, whatever. Yeah.
Well, Anna, you're known for, you know, your work in music videos and television, but this is your first feature, correct? First one. You know, how did you come about this project?
In an extremely normal way. Like, I got it through an agent, and we read it, and I totally fell in love with it. Like, the world was so cool, and the characters were so amazing and unique, and it was just like this really cool look at how someone dealt or didn't deal with grief, which I thought was a really great universal theme and something that I could tell a cool story about. So we kind of got about to working on it. It was like just a movie I had to make. I think a lot of times you come from music videos and you get a lot of these like high school comedies and like things like that. It's like I wanted a movie that had a heart and depth and great characters, and that was Walter. So
great
I had
characters.
to do it.
You have a great cast.
We have a fantastic cast.
William H. Macy, Virginia Madsen, Peter Facinelli. I mean, Neve Campbell. I mean, the list goes on. How was the casting process? Obviously, we've got Andrew here, but you know, elaborate on that.
Well, Andrew and I met right away. You know, he was definitely like part of this movie from the beginning. There's no one else that could play Walter. It just wouldn't be this movie without him. But we really wanted to build this cool cast around him, and we just started reaching for the stars, or whatever you want to say. And kind of one by one, it sort of came together. Like Virginia Madsen was first, and then William H. Macy, and then Milo Ventimiglia, who I had worked with before, and like absolutely love him, and Levin Rambin. And it was very much not something where we like bred people. Like, we didn't have money to have a normal casting process, and we were not filming with a huge budget, so it was very much like people who wanted to do this. And we just got lucky. We got really lucky, and people loved the material, and I had a great thing with a lot of the cast members, and we just got lucky.
Oh, yeah, you know, I was just going to say the producers were sort of filling me in step by step as they were casting, and I could not believe the names that they were telling me, because, you know, I mean, it's people that I grew up watching, it's people that I admired, and Walter started as a very small thing. You know, it was a short film that I shot with Brendan Hill, one of the producers on the film, and Paul Schulberg, the writer of the film, years and years ago. We made the short film, and I didn't think that anything else would ever come of it. And then years later, they turned into a feature. They asked me to come back, and then all of a sudden, you know, like Anna said, we've got Macy and Virginia Madsen and all these wonderful actors that I had admired since I was a kid, really. So it was, I was blown away. You know, I couldn't believe it.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, how was that evolution for you, playing Walter from a short and then, you know, coming into a full-length feature?
Yeah, it was. I have never had an experience like that before, and I don't know that I will. I mean, maybe, but it's such a cool thing to one day have a friend of yours call you up, you know, Brendan Hill, he's been a friend of mine for a long time, producer in the film, and say, hey, I'm doing this short, I'd like you to come do it, you know, what do you think? And a lot of times when you hear that, it's like, oh, who knows if anybody is ever going to see this aside from the director's, like, parents or whatever. But I read it and I was like, no, this is fantastic. I don't care if nobody ever ends up seeing this short. It's a really cool, you know, piece, so let's do it. So we shot the short, we had a great time. And then I kind of put it to bed for a while because I didn't expect anything to necessarily come of it. And then years later, you know, there starts to, there's some traction that they're gaining with turning this thing into a feature. So I was ready to go, you know, because I had lived with this character for so long, for so many years. But after meeting with Anna and discussing the character more with her and doing some rehearsals and stuff, you do start to, the character begins to evolve a little bit. And I went back and watched the short after I had seen the feature just recently, and it's kind of cool to see the subtle changes that occurred that weren't even necessarily planned, but you know, when that much time passes and when you've got a new script and new things that this character is involved with, the character becomes a little bit of a different person. And I think you can see that if you go back and watch the short that we shot, you know, 5 years ago.
Well, I enjoyed watching you
Thank
on
you. Oh,
film. It was very good.
Thank you.
Everyone, please check out Walter. It is in theaters March 13th and on video on demand.
Thank you, Carolyn. Đó là cuộc nói chuyện của Kira với nam tài tử Andrew J. West về phim Walter mà sẽ được trình chiếu rất là hạn chế bắt đầu vào cuối tuần này. Xin quý vị khán thính giả vẫn tiếp tục giữ màn hình SBTN. Chúng tôi sẽ trở lại trong giây lát.